come in with anything in the chat if you like them. So it's Villarreal at plus 375. That's massive considering they can win the game and still not qualify for the final in Paris. Liverpool minus 140. A lot of people will think, wow, Liverpool minus 140. I'll have some of that. The under or over 3 goals. I'm not sure I see more than 3 goals again. I don't think we see 4. If we see 4, then Liverpool have had an absolute night of it. Marco here, Villarreal over half a goal is minus 215. That's saying they expect a home goal. But Liverpool are minus 150 to score twice.
Yeah. My issue with Liverpool coming into this match and the prices surrounding Liverpool is the fact that they don't need to win. I've said it a few times throughout the competition. I'm never really too keen on backing pro bets involved in the team that doesn't require a win, particularly when they've been given a 2-goal lead going into this match as well. So, you look at the last couple of rounds as well, particularly in the second legs, even at Anfield, playing Benfica and Inter Milan as well. Punters backing big handicaps got burnt backing Liverpool because they didn't need to win. They rested and rotated a large proportion of that squad, and sure, they'll field a much stronger team coming into this match, but they'll have bigger priorities coming into this too. They're playing Tottenham on Saturday, which is arguably bigger considering they have a 2-goal lead here. They'll kind of fancy their chances to see this game out too. But so yeah, I mean, it kind of rests with Villarreal really, and I like the look of the under 3 goals, which you mentioned there, Flash. I can't see there being 4 in this match, purely because I don't see a huge amount of difference between what Villarreal will do to start with, at least in this match. I know Unai Emery was criticised heavily in the British press for his approach, but I didn't see anything wrong with the approach last week. It just, unfortunately, the opening goal, which went against them, was just a bad bit of luck, really. But they saw what Everton did in the derby at Anfield, and they tried to replicate that. And of course, Everton had more fleeting moments in attack than Villarreal did, but Villarreal didn't have Gerard Moreno leading the line. He trained on Monday, so we're expecting him to be involved here again. And Emery said, he's quite despondent post-match, but he said, maybe the game plan didn't work. I think deep down he does know the game plan probably would have worked, but you're meeting a Liverpool team who are so relentless and so good in almost all facets of the match. It's very, very difficult to stop them over 90 minutes, particularly with the 5 subs rule as well. You look at the players that Liverpool can bring off the bench. There's just game changers and match winners all over the park, whereas few teams across, even in the Premier League, can match them. Even Man City, you look at the bench, Liverpool's is stronger these days. So, yeah, I mean, as I said, my issue with backing Liverpool in any market is the fact that they don't need to go out and put this game to bed. They already have a 2-goal lead to defend. What I'm most impressed about the last week was actually what they did without the ball as well when the possession was turned over. That frenzied press to win the ball back, shutting Villarreal down at source. The offside trap again we talked about was enforced too. So it's going to be very difficult for Villarreal, but you never say never in football, but it's going to be difficult. So yeah, I found this one quite difficult to unpack. I would be looking to oppose a high goal line. And then if there is going to be goals, I'd expect them to come in the second half, because I think that's when Villarreal, at some stage, will have to say, look, we're going to have a go at have to have a crack at these at some point. And once they do open themselves up, they're very vulnerable and fragile to that Liverpool counter press, because, as we said, there's so much quality in those forward areas, and Thiago's dictating play at the moment like he's never done. Like he's playing some fantastic football. Fabinho last week was incredible, just the way in which he moved across the park to shut down fires. And it's just so hard. We're talking off air. It's so hard to find a weakness in this Liverpool team. So I just think Villarreal would be possibly a little bit foolish to go for the jugular from the first whistle.
Okay, let me give you some other markets, because we can spend a bit of time on these 2 games. First one being Villarreal versus Liverpool. What about the corner market? The corner market set at 9.5. Now I'm looking here. I'm going 9.5. So the over is minus 155. And the under is minus 125. Do we see 10 corners? Because it's one of those where Liverpool, they're not always involved in games with plenty corners. Mina?
It's an interesting one, because you'll imagine that it's about, what worries me in this is if Liverpool get a goal and then Villarreal lose steam because they just think it's too much of a gap. And if that happens, then I can't see there being that many corners going forward. But of course, you would think that, the way that I think the game will go is that they'll probably be a little bit similar to the way that Atletico Madrid versus Manchester City went, in the sense that they will try to hold for at least 20 minutes on a defensive level, Villarreal, and possibly even for the first half, and then really try to score their goals, but it is leaving it late for a team that doesn't naturally get that many goals, I think, against sides like Liverpool. Obviously, it is a giant. They've seen when their goals come, they sort of come in a quick turnaround. When they concede, it can be like that as well for them. We saw it when they feel like they've pushed through against Juventus, 2 goals and then 3 goals. And likewise, when they conceded, it was 1 goal and another one. So there are patterns that sometimes develop with Villarreal. But I have to say, my initial thought about this was that Liverpool would win, and I saw Villarreal scoring a goal. So I saw 3 goals in this match. But now I'm a little bit, I have to say, convinced by what Mark says, in the sense that they don't actually need to win this match. So I wonder whether it's worth looking at a 1-1 scoreline or possibly a draw, because I still see Villarreal getting something out of this, considering it is at home, it is in front of their own fans. This is like a fairy tale journey for them in the Champions League, and there is Gerard Moreno back in the squad. So I can see 1 goal there. It's just about whether or not we see anything more than that, and whether or not Liverpool will just go for the draw and not mind that.
Marco here. Cards. This is another one that can get a little bit out of hand in the last 20 minutes if Villarreal were chasing. Villarreal to have over 2.5 cards is plus 110. So Villarreal to have 3 yellows is obviously a winner at plus 110. And Liverpool is minus 140 just to have 2. I always have a problem with Liverpool on cards because they've only got maybe 3 or 4 potential people that put their foot in. And the rest of them was just so neat and tidy. So do we like Villarreal to get 3 yellows here?
Not for me, in all honesty, just because the potential, as Mina sort of alluded to there, that if Liverpool scored the first goal, this tie could be dead early doors. And normally the cards come out in the second half. And if the game is over pretty early on, if it's 3-0 on aggregate, possibly more, both teams might just declare. We just don't know. And that's the thing. I normally want a much tighter tie to get involved with a sort of pro cards bet. And if anything, I'd possibly be looking at the unders in that regard. The referee, I don't have his name to hand, but when I looked earlier, it was average to below average in terms of producing cards. So, if there's 1 goal between these two, absolutely, I'll be bang up for backing both teams almost and backing overs in the cards. But it might be one just to watch and see how it unfolds and see where we're at half time and if there's an opportunity to get involved. But yeah, it might sound dull, but these are the kind of ties where I just kind of think sometimes the best bet is no major bet and just a couple of larger shots, longer shots. I think you mentioned one off-air flash, which was the draw half-time Liverpool full-time, or possibly the draw half-time Villarreal full-time, because
plus 375 for draw Liverpool. Draw half-time, Liverpool full-time. Liverpool obviously breaking away and getting that goal is at plus 375. Liverpool do start normally quite strong, but Villarreal to win 2-0 is plus 2,200. If you think that we're going to go all the way here and Liverpool can do a job, Villarreal can do a job on Liverpool. On the corners market, Mitch is obviously getting involved and he's going with Liverpool -2, says he can see it being 7-3. Bon Jovu said Liverpool do actually have loads of corners. Well, I think they had like 2 against Man City, and then they had like 3 or 4 at Wembley. Sorry, Mina?
I was saying Liverpool average around 7 corners or just over per game. Meanwhile, Villarreal average about 3.5 corners a game. So actually, there is every possibility that this would go over 10. It's just obviously the way that the game will go. But for yellow cards, they average less than 2, both teams. So I don't see that there's a market for cards, but the numbers suggest that from corners, there is a possibility that it will go over. I'm always worried about Liverpool getting an early goal, and then that might deflate Villarreal. But if they keep attacking, and Liverpool are not the type of team that says, you know what, we got a goal, we're fine with it. They do tend to attack and they will try to play. So I wonder whether that's something that's still worth looking at or not if you are looking for the alternate lines.
Okay, let's have a little look at the official picks, because I tell you what, we can talk all day about this game, and every time we come to it, Liverpool are class, but it's this unscripted drama. It's the semi-final of the Champions League, and we've seen teams. I'm just thinking PSG and Barcelona. PSG go out 4-1 and then get beat 5, and it's like crazy. The unexpected could happen, and Villarreal plus 2,200 to win 2-0. Not for me personally. I think they had their chance to really keep this tight at Anfield, and they didn't. Bit of hard luck went against them. The official bets are Liverpool and both teams to score at plus 220. I've gone for Liverpool half-time, full-time at plus 160. Just thinking Liverpool may well just see them off early, because Villarreal may just go for it But if you fancy it's draw half time, Liverpool full time, it's plus 375. And if I just quickly give you what it is for draw Villarreal, because remember, Villarreal can actually win. If you fancy that type of behavior, draw Villarreal is plus 850. But there again, I suppose you wouldn't complicate it and just go straight with the plus 375. Marco here, he's given you plenty of ideas, but thinks this is a game to steer clear of because of Liverpool having that 2-goal lead. Okay.